You know, some of the things that they put directly onto police and military regalia, uniforms, they're worn by the people involved in these institutions, are symbols that come directly out of dark occultism and Satanism in particular. Directly, they are putting occult symbols on these individuals. One of the biggest ones that they place on them is inverted pentagrams. You'll see this in some police department badges, okay? Like the Victoria Police. It's an inverted pentagram and it's upholding the British crown, okay? And it says uphold the right. And that doesn't mean uphold the rights of the people. It means uphold the rights of the crown. They're being used by these people to basically protect them, to protect this royalty, to protect this oligarchy, to protect this, corporatocracy, or what I call the occultocracy. That's what we live in. We live in an occultocracy. We live in a society that is ruled by occultists, by a hidden elite that understands more about the human psyche than anybody else in the world, and therefore understands how to manipulate the mind of the public to get them to put themselves into chains for them. You'll see this often placed directly on the forehead. They don't just wear it as a badge like over the heart in many cases. They'll put it over these areas of energy within the human body. One of them is the heart. So that's why a badge is worn near the heart. Another place that they'll put it is on their hats. Whatever type of hat they may wear, they'll put it on the front of the hat so that it's right near the fore part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is where the morality center of a being is. So they're putting a satanic emblem that resonates with satanic energy over the part of the brain that could develop morality. I mean, just think about the symbolism involved in that. You're taking a symbol. The inverted pentagram represents duality and conflict raised above the union of the Trinity. That's why there's 2 points upward out of the 5 and 3 points downward. So you're taking the concept of the Holy Trinity and you're putting that down while you're raising up the 2 horns of duality. I don't see how you could get any more satanic than that. That's why it's used as a satanic emblem or symbol. That's where that imagery comes from. It's the idea that the goat's head fits inside of the 5-pointed inverted star with the 2 horns sticking up, the bull or the goat. These are satanic symbols that have always resonated with dark occultism. Then those 3 points that are down represent thought, emotion, and action, the real Trinity. You could look at it as the, quote, religious Trinity, but that's just a symbolic allegory about the 3 aspects of ourselves. You have the thoughts, which is like the creative aspect. Then you have the Divine Mother, or the Holy Spirit, the sacred feminine component of the consciousness, which is the emotions, okay, the heart. And then you have the actions. That's the male byproduct. That's why it's always a male child in the Trinity, because the thoughts and emotions come together as the father and the mother figure. They are wed together, and then they have the offspring, which is the actions of the individual, which is a male or masculine quality. And that's why those are the 3 aspects of the Trinity: thoughts, emotions, and actions. Now, those are put down, and then the duality of playing sides off against each other, of conflict. Okay, and these people being required to be in their positions of authority to resolve that conflict is raised up above, and that's the diametrically opposing forces that keep the crown in its place, which sits between those 2 upward pointing triangles of the pentagram, those upward pointing points of the pentagram. They hold the crown inside of it like, a cradle, like holding it in their arms, right in between the 2 horns, if you will. I mean, you just have to look at some of this symbolism and you'll realize how unbelievably dark it is. I mean, the Medal of Valor that is given in the armed forces is an inverted pentagram with the goddess figure, Okay, the sacred feminine energy of the goddess, which is care, which is what it really represents, is the emotional quality of the individual inside the inverted pentagram. Because to get that medal of valor, care for other human beings ultimately had to be sacrificed. It had to be put into a satanic state to get somebody to do the types of violent actions that they got them to do by just polarizing the mindset and saying, we're pitting you against them because their government is telling them to do this, and we as your government is telling you to stop them or go after them. And of course, it's sits below an octagon. The octagonal shape is always used to represent mind control. Okay. It's a hypercube in a two-dimensional perspective. The hypercube is the symbol of a never-ending prison-like mindset that you can never escape from. It's a symbol of pure ego identification and earthbound identified consciousness that never seeks or reaches for anything higher or any higher wisdom or understanding. And that's why they choose the hypercube to represent mind control. The Medal of Valor hangs from a hypercube or an octagon. And inside of it, there is an arrangement of stars, I believe it's 13 stars. And this arrangement of these stars is in two squares. Now, two oblong squares is another way of looking at, or another perspective of, the hypercube or the octagon. Okay, so whenever you see two overlapping squares, this is also a symbol that's traditionally used in dark occultism to represent mind control, to represent the control of anything, really. Mental control, physical control, emotional control, and most importantly, spiritual control, owning the soul. Okay, owning the mind, and as a result of owning the mind, owning the behaviors, and as a result of owning both of those things, owning the soul. Because that's what ultimately these people want. You know, they want the soul of human beings destroyed. Make no mistake about it, this is an absolute spiritual war that's going on. And these dark occultists, through getting into the mind of people and giving them false belief systems, own their soul as a result. Now, inside that, on the Medal of Valor, the octagon, okay, which the pendant actually hangs from, which is a inverted pentagram with the Statue of Liberty representing the goddess, the emotional aspect of consciousness inside of the pentagram. Inside the octagon at the top of this badge outside of it, the octagon is inside of this, is the trapezoid. The trapezoid is probably the darkest satanic symbol that is used in all of Satanism. People think, well, the inverted pentagram is the main symbol, or some people look at the inverted cross, the inverted crucifix, as a big symbol of Satanism. These are actually even lesser important. They're lesser symbols of importance in Satanism and dark occultism as the trapezoid. The trapezoid is an equilateral triangle with the top of it lopped off. Okay, so if you look at the trapezoid that's on the back of the $1 bill, okay, with the all-seeing eye over top of it, okay, that represents a prison of souls. It's a trap. That's why they use the shape, the trapezoid. Not only that, but it's this. It represents the Trinity again, which would be the equilateral triangle, but broken. Okay, so you're taking off that top piece, which represents the consciousness being in union with divinity. A lot of people insist that all-seeing eye means the dark occult, or the dark Illuminati, as people refer to them as, the darkly illuminated ones, as they like to see themselves as, because they have the knowledge, but they use it for mechanisms of control and manipulation and enslavement. So they see themselves as enlightened because of what they know. Okay, they're not enlightened. They're not the real illuminated ones. The people who really know what's going on and are trying to free the world from slavery are the true Illuminati, the illuminated ones. Okay, so I hate when they're referred to as this term, because one, this catch-all term Illuminati, it has taken almost like a cartoon-like quality with most people in pop culture. And secondly, it's a misnomer. It's not true. It's not accurate. They're not enlightened. They're not illuminated. You could say that they're darkly illuminated because they hold a lot of knowledge, but they use it for evil purposes. So I would refer to them as the dark Illuminati if you want to refer to that. But this all-seeing eye symbol represents the spark of divinity which exists within us. It represents union with the qualities of the divine, not being the divine, but being like the divine in the world, because you are bringing yourself into accordance and into harmony with natural law, with moral, spiritual law, or what you would call God's law. This eye in the triangle represents the unity consciousness of bringing your thoughts, emotions, and actions into alignment with each other, such that you're a being that as you think, so you feel, and so you act, and there is no contradiction between those three modes of consciousness. Okay? You're not saying or thinking one way and then saying and that you feel a certain way about this, concept or behavior, and then you're going to act differently. That would be contradiction or oppositional consciousness. Unity consciousness, represented by the eye in the triangle, means as you think, so you feel, so you act, and you're not in contradiction between those three aspects of consciousness. So if you take that out of the equation of this equilateral triangle shape, what you're left with at the bottom, if you refer to the reverse side of the $1 of the Great Seal on the back of the $1 bill on the left-hand side of the bill, you'll see underneath that all-seeing eye is the pyramid. Now, that pyramid is incomplete because the capstone, the eye, isn't joined with it, okay? So it forms, the pyramid part forms a trapezoid. Again, that's the satanic symbol. So on that symbol, you have godlike consciousness represented by the eye, and then satanic consciousness represented by the trapezoid, okay? The trapezoid forms the top piece of the Medal of Valor, this military honor that is given to them. So you have altogether, I count 1, 2, 3, 4 absolutely overt dark occultic symbols on this one emblem. The trapezoid, the octagon, which is the hypercube projection, which represents mind control, the two overlapping obverse squares, which represent mind control as well, and then the inverted pentagram, which represents the raising of duality to a high level and conflict and artificial conflict resolution, or the Hegelian dialectic, triumphing over the Trinity, or thought, emotion, and action. So you have the spiritual point of the pentagram, thrust downward, and you have the materialistic points of the pentagram thrust upward. And then inside of that is trapped the goddess that represents care for truth, care for what is right, care for knowing the difference between right and wrong, care for freedom. And, I just can't think of anything more blatantly satanic. I mean, you even have like a trident, a double trident symbol, with a snake wrapped around it, in the middle of the symbol as well. And this is just one example. I mean, you could go on and on and on and on. Look at the checkerboard floor, which is a big symbol in low-level Freemasonry. And they often don't even tell their low-level initiates what this symbology represents of the black and white checkerboard floor of the Temple of Solomon, or the floor of the house, as it is known in Freemasonry. This is often wrapped around the head of the police. Here in Chicago, they use it on the police's hats. They use it in England, all over the place, all over police, the checkerboard floor, wrapped around the brain.
Base level thinking.
Yep.
I hammer this point. That's why I wanted to just let you go off on this, because I hammer this all the time. That's the reason. That's the symbology. That's what 666 is. The mark of the beast. That's what it's base level thinking. Us, we're the beast. That's what they look at us like cattle, again, like zombies, like the walking frigging dead. And you're not. You're not, humanity. You're not. Okay? I believe in you. Mark believes in you. We understand your true potential. It's time you did as well, because the powers that shouldn't be have you thinking of yourselves like they think about you. See, that's the beauty of their whole plan. They know they can't control you themselves. They can't physically dominate over you because mankind has evolved past that. So now they get you to do it to yourself.
They have to put you into a poisoned worldview mindset where you think like they think. Everybody's just horrific and bad. Nothing can be changed. People just need to be culled or killed off, and what am I going to do about it? That's where they want people. They want people in this mindset of what can I do about it? Now, I said, they may not be in a lot of fear about what I can do, but hey, I could do a whole lot. I could do a lot of damage to their plan. I could change a lot of people's minds. I'm not going to stop trying.
You already have, dude. So that's why I said they've completely underestimated you and your abilities. I'm going to pause us right there because I see the break is sneaking up on us. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. I urge you to go over to Mark's website, whatonearthishappening.com, and check out all of his podcasts. Go through them in order. It's important. That way it's kind of like taking a class. If you go out of order, it's going to screw you up. It's better to go in order from start to finish. I promise you, you will not be sorry. I'm telling you, Mark's a good personal friend of mine, and he has helped me on my enlightenment throughout the years. You will not be sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 3 short minutes.
They're 6 inches in front of your face! Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're going to see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're going to do the same for him. That's the team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. Ideas are bulletproof.